Getting laid off from a job can feel really scary and overwhelming and frustrating, and you may not know what to do next with your finances. So today I'm sharing the 6 steps you should take, especially regarding your money, if you do lose your job. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you've either been laid off or you're expecting to get laid off, and I just want to take some time and say that I'm really sorry. I'm sharing this video because we've actually experienced this ourselves and we're walking through this season right now. My husband, unfortunately, was part of a mass layoff with his job working in the tech industry a few weeks ago, and right now he's unemployed, and we are experiencing all of these things firsthand, and this is the first time either of us have lost a job. If you are a frequent watcher of my videos, then you may know that I've shared some content related to the subject lately because it's what we're currently going through. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are going through the same thing. And a lot of you have said this content's helpful for you, so I'll use my pain and mistakes to hopefully help you so that you don't make the same mistakes as we did. So the first thing you should do if you get laid off is breathe. Take a moment, don't make any huge decisions yet because you are going to have to grieve the loss of this job. My husband got a notification for a Zoom meeting early one morning. He went on the Zoom meeting in the morning and was told, if you're on this meeting, you're getting laid off. And it was super shocking, so unexpected, and just came out of left field. We had no idea that this was going to happen. And with that of being so shocked, I feel like we made some really big decisions at first of, trying to figure out our finances so quickly because we were just in this like fight or flight mode. And we just had to take the time to like grieve the entire loss of this job. I am grateful that I do have my business here on YouTube. I am making an income, but my husband was the breadwinner. He made more money than I did, and we relied on his income very heavily. So this obviously was a really devastating loss for our family, especially since we have 2 small kids, ages 2.5 and 5 months old. But if you've recently lost a job, take a moment and just breathe. Take a step back and don't make any big life-altering decisions yet. Don't put your house up for sale yet. Don't move across the country to be with your parents. Just take some time to grieve. And I found it so interesting that we went through all the stages of grief. We were, I don't even know, I can't even list them all off right now, but let me tell you, we were angry, we were sad, we were in disbelief, and we went through all of these feelings, and finally we came to just accept it and realize it is what it is and figure out a plan to move on. And it took probably a week to get to the point that we were like, okay, this is what it is, and we're just gonna have to figure it out and move on. A lot of times, if we're feeling very overwhelmed emotionally, we can make decisions that don't quite make sense. So I don't want you to make a bunch of decisions based off of pure emotion. And so rather just take some time, give it a day or 2 before you start making some really big decisions in regards to losing your job. The next thing you should do, and very soon, is file for unemployment if you're applicable in being able to receive that. So you can just simply Google unemployment in your state and find the website where you can apply for unemployment. My husband did this the day he was laid off, and going through all the hoops for unemployment is kind of a whole process. The system feels very outdated, and there's a lot of things you have to do, at least where we live in Oregon, to get approved for all these steps to go through to finally get unemployment. So it's great to start this process early and receive that unemployment income if that's going to be applicable to you. And while my husband did this, the day that he got laid off, this wasn't something that we even thought of for a few hours because we were processing the shock of it all, and then come to realize, oh, that's right, we do have this option available to us, is unemployment insurance. And while it's not much, it's something, and something's better than nothing. So we do have unemployment income coming into our household during this time, and my husband did jump through all the hoops to be able to get unemployment insurance. So definitely important to look into that and get all of the paperwork filled out, get everything signed up for so that you can utilize that benefit if that is applicable to you. The next thing that you should do with your finances is take a look at your budget. So the reason why I'm sharing everything publicly about my husband's job loss is because I talk all the time here on my channel about money, budgeting, personal finance. That is what I talk about here. So of course I'm sharing our journey along the way because what we're experiencing with job loss obviously has a huge impact on our finances right now. But I'm really grateful that we have been budgeting. And so while still receiving this job loss is devastating and we really grieved it, and it's not fun to lose, the majority of your income, I do know that we're going to be okay because we've worked so hard on our finances by budgeting, building our emergency fund, paying off debt, all those kinds of things. You can also subscribe to my channel here so that you won't miss more of our journey of what we're going through, and also a whole bunch of budgeting content as well that'll hopefully help you if you're experiencing some kind of job loss right now. But if you've experienced a job loss, it's important for you to take a look at your budget and kind of evaluate some things that you can make some cuts on. And know that you're not going to have to cut these things out for forever, but hopefully just for this season while you are looking for another job. So we cut out everything that wasn't a necessity in our budget, and we've just had our budget down to the bare minimum, like the things that we basically need to survive each month, like food, shelter, utilities, those kinds of basics. And if you want to get started with budgeting, I actually have a course all about budgeting that'll help you create your budget and optimize it to work on your financial goals. And I'll leave a link to that course down in the description box below, and you can check it out there. If you have experienced a job loss and you haven't started budgeting yet, you need to start budgeting right now so that you can keep really good track of the income that you have coming in and going out. I also have a budget template available for sale. I will have a link to that down in the description box as well, and you could use that if you want to start budgeting. The next thing to do is take account of the cash and other assets that are available to you. When you lose a job, you are in storm mode. And like I said, cutting your budget down to the things that are just bare necessities. And so you also want to take inventory to see what other resources you have to draw on if you need to. So take into account any kind of extra cash you have on hand, like your emergency fund, or maybe you have extra cash lying around like sinking funds. Those are going to be great things to pull on first because that's going to be the most liquid. But you could even just list out some things that you may have access to and you could use if you absolutely need to. Like, for example, we did this when we found out about my husband's job loss. We have our emergency fund, which is going to be the thing that we'll pull from first and foremost. But if we absolutely need to, we also have a Roth IRA, which we can withdraw on contributions, tax and penalty free. We also have a car that we could sell. And so we just kind of made a list of like all of the money that we had available to us and things that, we could do to make extra income. And while I'm not anticipating us having to pull from our Roth IRA or sell our car, it was just reassuring for me to know that like we had these options available to us and we weren't going to just like wither away, So just having inventory of like all of your assets, knowing how much cash you have on hand, and a plan for where you're going to pull money from first is really important. The fifth thing to do is consider insurance options. Oh my gosh, going through this whole process, the insurance part of it has been the most stressful part, honestly. And I think that's because we have a family. And because I am self-employed, we had insurance through my husband's work, which was a great benefit. But like I said, we have a 2.5-year-old and a 5-month-old. Also, as we're heading into this fall and winter season, I know RSV is raging, and honestly, it's really nerve-wracking for me thinking of having 2 small kids and possibly not insurance. So one thing that we looked into right away was figuring out our insurance options. For us in our situation, my husband's employer gave him 1 more month of insurance coverage. So we have insurance through the end of November. But after that, we have to figure out what we're going to do. We have the option of Cobra. And then I also actually reached out to a health insurance broker, which I didn't even know was a thing, but it is a thing. And I talked to a professional about this. And he was able to guide me to understand what kinds of options are out there. And we actually have decided to continue on with Cobra, which is continuation of benefits that we had through his employer for the month of December. Even though it's really expensive, that's what makes sense for us in our plan because we've hit our max out of pocket and just like our plan specifically for our situation. But then we are talking with him to figure out our options going forward. And that's what's very interesting of this time is that there's just a lot of uncertainty of we don't know when my husband's going to get a new job or what the benefits are going to entail. So it was really nice to speak with someone to figure out what options would be available to us and kind of walk us through that situation. So you could definitely research and find a health insurance broker near you, and they can help answer all of these questions, because health insurance can be so tricky that I wanted to make sure I had a professional who was going to guide us in the best way possible so we can make the best decision for our family and our finances. And the final step for you to take seems pretty obvious, but that is to be networking and applying for jobs. Now, if you are applying for a bunch of jobs, I would actually recommend like keeping a spreadsheet of all of the jobs that you're applying for, and you can keep a list of the company, the job title, maybe even have a link to the job, how much it pays, if you have any connections there that you could reach out to, and then you can make an update as to whether or not you got a yes or a no or got an interview. Anyway, it's just a really great way to be able to keep track. My husband Jacob, like I said, he's been off for almost 3 weeks now. He's applied to over 50 jobs so far, and he's had some interviews, and so he's just been keeping track of everything in a spreadsheet, and it's definitely great for the organization because there's, a lot of moving parts and a lot of jobs that he's applying to right now. So it's a great way to stay a little bit more organized. So if you are in the situation of job loss, I want to say I'm sorry. I personally know how scary and frustrating the situation may be, but I hope that you can take a deep breath and follow some of these steps that you feel more secure during this season of uncertainty. And let's all hope for new jobs around the corner. And with that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more budgeting and personal finance content, and also some content related to job loss, as again, that's what we're experiencing right now. And hopefully we'll have an update for you guys soon of a new job for my husband. But in the meantime, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
About to leave, already packing, come with me.